Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to give my review for the next episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. We're back with our favourite Hulk cousin. Anyway, obviously in the last episode we had the sort of wedding filler episode with Jen's friend getting married and the whole back and forth battle with Titania, and it ended with uh, Jen talking to one of the guests at the wedding called Josh, and somebody was monitoring them or filming them from a distance. So this episode was entertaining compared to the last two. I enjoyed it. Um, we got a few new characters introduced. We had Blonsky return, and it was entertaining. And we got a bit more details, would you say, on the character of Josh. Basically, what I surmised or predicted in from the previous episode pretty much turned out to be true. So I will go into the episode now. As always, there'll be spoilers, so just be careful if you haven't watched the episode yet. But yeah, we basically kick off with Jennifer uh, getting ready for a date with Josh, and they go out, have a good time, and then basically she leaves him standing at the door. I think he goes to kiss her, and she like sort of walks in, closes the door on him, and then she basically you can see her click on uh, that he wanted to kiss her. She opens the door again, he's disappeared. So she's like, close the door again, and then she goes on several more dates with him, and basically then she invites him in. The next time we see her at her house, she invites him in, and then basically the next morning, she wakes up and Josh isn't there, so she's basically got the feeling that he's left early for work or something like that. So she texts him and says, uh, had fun last night, can't stop smiling. And basically, then it goes through several hours and she hasn't got a reply. He hasn't read the message. She's like pacing back and forward, constantly checking her phone. Um, and it goes through sort of different days. It keeps like telling you which day it is. So it's like Thursday and then Friday, and then we get to Sunday and still no uh, reply, no message. So she's like climbing the walls, and uh, she's in work, constantly looking at her phone. Her friend Nikki is trying to talk to her about uh, the online forum that's basically all hate against her, and she's totally ignoring that and keeps looking at her phone. So then, originally, not originally, ironically, there's no side plot in this episode. It's just all uh, focus on Jennifer. So it was good to see that. Uh, we get to the following weekend, and Jennifer gets a call from Blonsky's parole officer to say that his inhibitor chip that stops him uh, turning into Abomination is malfunctioning, and I don't know if he is basically broken his curfew or what's happened. So he asks her to go and meet him, and they basically arrive at the retreat center that he's opened up, and he says that uh, no, he hasn't broken his curfew or his release terms, and the only thing happened was that he touched an electric fence trying to stop one of his favorite chickens escaping, and maybe that malfunctioned. Uh, so basically that happens, and Jennifer's still checking her phone. All and Blonsky's trying to talk to her. Saying you're very, uh, you look very stressed and thing, and she's like ignoring him, and then uh, basically she's about to get into her car, and we get an introduction of two characters, was Mambull and El Agler, I think his name was. Uh, I think that's his name, El Aguilar, or it was like, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but so they were basically uh beating the hell out of each other, and Jen hulks out and grabs Mambull by the horns and throws him to the ground. Uh, and basically Blonsky says, it's just two guys trying to work out their emotions, and Jennifer's basically cracking up with them because they've destroyed her car and they're fighting. And El Agler's actually funny. It remind me a bit of Jack Black in Lucha Libre. He's dressed sort of like a Spanish wrestler or matador, but although he actually says in the episode to Jennifer, "I'm not a matador," because it would look very cliche if I'm fighting a bull dressed as a matador, but I'm not one. So uh, basically, Blonsky says that those two have come to his retreat center to sort of relax, find themselves, and work out their uh, a, a pent up aggression. So Blonsky basically tries to get Jennifer to stay, and she just wants to get out of there, but her car's destroyed, and Blonsky tells that the uh, pickup truck can't get out until later in the day or tomorrow. So she's basically stuck there, but she's still looking at her phone. Blonsky tells there's no Wi-Fi or cell service anywhere on the ground, so like he's still trying to talk to her, and she's just constantly glued to her phone. And so basically it goes on like an aerial shot then of Jennifer walking all around the ground, and there's like a sort of like a thing of no service, and text come up on the screen the whole way around everywhere she goes, no service, no service. Then she finds this can't remember if it was a building or a cabin, but she walks in and finally, like, it shows you on the screen of no service, no service, and then a bar pops up, and she's like, "Oh shit! Finally!" But she inadvertently walks in on a therapy session that Blonsky's holding, with other characters, and he asks her to join the session. She's like, "No, I'm just trying to get some service. I'll stay over here with the Wi-Fi signal. You do that." So we're introduced to more characters. We have Porcupine is a guy in a big porcupine suit. It's sort of like, it's hard to try to describe. um the suit, it's sort of like not, it's not fur, but sort of like it's like hay, like a suit made of hay type of way, but there's um sort of spikes and like needles attached to it as well. So he's that, and he's like a big uh like sort of gas mask attached to him as well. So you have that character called Porcupine. Then you have the two, Ozzy Mambo and El Aguila, and you had, I have them written down here actually. Saracen, who Blonsky says believes he's a vampire, so he's dressed uh, sort of a way like Dracula in a way, with the sort of medallion and the cape. But so they're having their session, and Jennifer's still over in the corner looking at her phone, and they're talking away, and Blonsky's, trying, it reminds you a bit of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where, they go to each individual and, ask them to talk, so he's going to each one, and then he goes and talks to Porcupine and says, uh, how we say that we need to come out of our shell. We've talked about you coming out of your suit, and they're all waiting to see what he looks like outside of his suit because he wears the gas mask and everything. And he says, "No, not today. I'm not ready." So then we have another character enter the room, and Jennifer immediately perks her head up, and it's uh, we know who it is, but she basically breaks the fourth wall, looks at the camera, and says, "Do you guys remember this guy? Did they do a previously on at the start of the episode for this guy?" She's like, "Do you know what? Actually, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna do a previously on for this guy, so you know who it is." And she's like, "Previously on," and we get a flashback to the group of guys that attacked her uh, outside her apartment with the Asgardian powered weapons. And so one of the guys from the wrecking crew is at the retreat, and they basically just listed him as Wrecker in the cast, so didn't give another name for him. So she basically hulks out, charges across the room, and grabs him and just throws him uh, across the room into this pile of stacked chairs. Who Mambo thing, because he says they were so neatly stacked. So he must either he stacked the chairs, or he wasn't happy about the thing, but he keeps going on about the stacked chairs being disrupted. And Blonsky tries to calm Jennifer down, and tells her to sit in the calming chair. You need to chill out. Come and sit in the calming chair. And uh, Jennifer said, tells Blonsky the others that he's part of a gang that attacked her. It says, fair enough, I'll go and sit in the calming chair, but when I get up, I'm gonna tear you to pieces. But the guy basically gets up and apologizes to her, and says that he's not that guy anymore. He and the gang, thought they were super villains, and she says, "Oh, you were a super villain, four guys to tackle one woman." So he and Jennifer eventually join the circle to talk with the rest of the group, and Blonsky basically calls out Jennifer for still looking at her phone, and she at first doesn't want to talk about it. She keeps her head down and thing. But then eventually, then she tells him about Josh and how they've went on a few dates and end up sleeping together, or as Mambo says, when you made love. She's like, okay, that's gross, but yes, when we slept together. And she says she hasn't heard from him since, and she tells them that what she texted him, saying that was fun. I can't stop smiling, and they're all their head in their hands, saying, "You don't do that. You don't. That's not the type of message you send." And and she says, "Well, that's not the last message I sent him. I sent one today. Saying, hey, I'm getting worried. Just want to know you're safe. Blushing smiley face." And they all just crack up. And it's like, why would you do that? Funny enough, so they're basically all saying that, and the Wrecker character, he says, he's obviously just ghosting you after sleeping with you, and Mamble's saying, basically saying, we need to find him and make him example of him for a thing. And the vampire guy Saracen, he keeps talking about blood because the vampire, but he says one thing in the middle of it. He says, maybe he was just after your special blood, but it gets ignored in all the with them all shouting across and talking over each other. So Blonsky basically asked, Jennifer, well, what do you think, it means? And she basically goes into sort of opens up, basically saying that how you always see like a popular girl in school who has every guy's attention, or who every guy wants to talk to or be with. That was never me. When I became She-Hulk, I end up becoming that girl, and I could change into that girl anytime I wanted. But Josh was the first guy who basically liked her for, Jen, and not She-Hulk. He never mentioned She-Hulk. So the group basically then, where Mamble basically says, we need to find this guy, and Saracen says, I can drain him of his blood, and El Aguilar stands up and pulls a sword which starts powering up with electricity, and Wrecker basically is the one who says, Jennifer's pouring her heart out here, and the only thing this group can offer is violence. Maybe we need to be here for Jen. So basically they comfort Jennifer, and she's in She-Hulk form, so they tell her to be herself and de-Hulk into her human self. So it basically then shows the group then getting along, they're being a thing, and this makes Porcupine then decide to remove uh, his mask and helmet, and uh, his face is all like uh, is it blisters or a thing, and to say, do you ever wash that suit, or do you ever think it must obviously um the suit must smell bad, and also Blonsky's just like, just until we get to a dry cleaners, just put the mask back on. So I thought that was funny because he tried for ages to get him to take the mask off, and then whenever they were making Jennifer feel good about herself, then he took the mask off and they told him to put it back on again. But yeah, so we got all that, and then basically it fast forwarded to um Jennifer leaving the place. Then the pickup truck came to take her car, and she was saying goodbye to them all, and saying thank you, and they hand me her a card saying, bye Jane, we'll miss you and She Hulk. And she thanks them all for making her feel good about herself, and realizing that she can be herself and just need the She Hulk part of herself to um get attention or whatever. But Blonsky basically says, thank you for coming out, and come back anytime. And she says, yeah, whenever you get Wi-Fi, I'll definitely be back. So basically that's it. You think the episode's going to end because it just basically shows her sitting in the pickup truck, and uh she switches her phone. I think she switched her phone off because one of the things in the session that they got her to do was delete Josh's number, because she kept staring at her phone so much and staring at his messages. They basically told her that the first step is to delete Josh's number and move on and be yourself. So she deleted his number, and so the episode basically, you think it's going to end with her basically just putting her phone away and staring out the window of the truck. But we go to a black screen, but then the text pops up on the screen, says 3 days earlier, and we're back with Josh and Jennifer when they went back to her apartment, and she's lying sleeping, and he gets dressed, and basically it shows him cloning her phone, and then he sends a text message to the Hulk King that we seen the name pop up in the last episode, and he sends sort of emojis of blood and a green file and the thumbs up. So basically saying that he's stolen her blood, which is what I surmise was maybe what was trying to happen with this character. That maybe they were trying to get this guy Josh to befriend Jennifer, and then maybe trying that way to try and get her blood. So now basically they have Jennifer's blood. So it'll be interesting now to see what happens with that progressing forward. I still think that the villain or whoever it is the leader, and this is then going to lead up to Captain America: New World Order, and we're going to basically have where he has Hulk blood and is going to be creating his own army of Hulks, similar to what you've seen in the the old animated series where we had the whole like line of different Hulks and thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But as I said, I thought this episode was a lot more entertaining than the previous episode. Even though like it didn't really get much advancement on the plot until the end, it was still, I think it was more entertaining in the last episode because we were introduced to several more characters. Also, then you had the return of Blonsky, and so I don't know if we're going to see those characters return in the next episode or not. But it's I like the fact that you get more character introduction, more um uh it'd be good to get more backstory on them, going forward. Obviously, we had uh Luna, the Asgardian elf, in one episode, and you had Mr. Immortal, and now you've had a whole room of characters introduced. So we'll see what they do. It could be possibly that um, Jennifer might get them to team up with her, possibly in a finale or maybe next season or something. They could like start their own sort of group or thing, like. But we'll see what happens. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll just see what happens going forward. I think there was mention that Daredevil might be appearing in the next episode, so we'll have to see where it goes from there. I mean, possibly, I don't know where it's officially Daredevil, or it could be just Matt Murdock in a courtroom scene. But we could see whatever the continuation of that plot and next one, if she finds out that her blood has been stolen. Obviously, we don't have Bruce because he was transported off the planet. But we might get a boss reveal in the next episode. Hard to say. But I keep saying bottle up. But yeah, that's basically it. I know to some of this one probably felt like another filler episode, but I enjoyed this one compared to the last one. I know the last one was a filler episode too, but it wasn't as entertaining as this episode because it was just the wedding and a quick fight with Titania. This one had more comedy in it with the different characters going back and forward, and Blonsky is complete difference to his character now when you look back at the Incredible Hulk and how he was just so determined and focused on trying to battle Hulk, and he was ended up attacking others, and when he turned into Abomination, he was destroying buildings and everything. Whereas now in She-Hulk, he's more sort of he's like a very relaxed character. There's like sort of a comedy element to it because as he said that he was trying to rescue one of his favorite chickens, and he was like in the therapy sessions. He was trying to telling Jennifer to go and sit in the calming chair, and he's telling Porcupine to put his mask back on after asking him to remove it. But yeah, I thought this was a very entertaining episode. It definitely had me laughing at different points in the episode. So, that's what I look for. The last one, there was some funny moments with Mr. Immortal, but it was sort of a episode that dragged on. This one, it felt very quick. Once you got through the sort of therapy session, it was basically just Jennifer leaving and then the backstory on Josh. So it went by very quickly compared to the last episode. So we'll just have to see what happens with the next one. If Daredevil is being introduced, then might have more fight scenes. Possibly the fact that the guy Wrecker from the gang that attacked Jennifer, the fact that he showed up at that retreat session, was maybe he following her, or was he sent there to watch Jennifer? So it's just it feels thing that him showing up thing, and then now we have Josh has obviously been working with the same boss who sent the gang. So are they in cahoots? Ironically, actually, Josh or Wrecker was one of the first people to say that she should delete his number. So is it maybe he working with Josh as well? Did he maybe follow her to find out if she's been trying to look for Josh or whatever? But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's pretty much all I can think of. So like the video and drop a comment below if you have watched the episode. What did you think of this episode, and what did you think of the characters introduced? I don't know if we're going to see that. I would like to see them in another episode because I thought they brought a bit of comedy to the show. I hope they would not just introducing characters just as a one-off and we don't see them again. Obviously, likes of Mambo was very funny, so I would definitely like to see him in another episode. And let me know what you thought of the series so far. Have you enjoyed it? Did you think that's just been dragging on? And what's your thoughts on the remaining episodes of what we're going to see? Do you feel that this is going to link into another movie or a season 2? And that's pretty much it. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you for the next review. And hopefully we'll see what Daredevil will have in store for us. Anyway, take care. See you again.